point. Today, I'm going to talk about uh, how we can build a very good foundation in our entrepreneurship journey, and also um, how we can move our ideas, those good ideas that we have, just like where we stopped last week, and we pick it up from there. Somebody asked that, how can I move? I have these big ideas. How can I translate those ideas to businesses? So that means people that have selected the topic really did a great job, just like they have known ahead what the next question will be in the mind of people after the last class that we had. So I will start from a little story, and probably I'm not the only one that used to feel this. There was a time in my life that I always thought about it. I hear somebody raised a certain amount of money, probably raised maybe $5 million investment. Another person raised $2 million investment. And I always wonder, like, where are these people getting this connection from? Where are they getting that connect from? How come they have good ideas, right? I also have good ideas, and they don't have two heads. How do they get those ideas? And how did they transform that idea to a working business that other can now see and be willing to invest in? So that question was on my mind for a long time. And so I decided to do some research and then attend seminars, just do some learning to find out how do people move from this point that I am to the next point that I want to be. So one day I went for a program in Lagos, um, and we had in the program the panelists were about six. They have like six panelists, and they were all sharing their journey. So the purpose of the program was for those young guys to share their story so that we that are in the audience can learn from them and then be inspired to start from scratch. So everybody was supposed to tell us how they started from scratch. And while listening to them keenly, I was very interested that I'm going to jot down everything, I'm going to implement everything. But I found something that was common. All of them either graduated from one school in the US, or had or was given birth to in the UK, or they went somewhere and they traveled to Canada. One way or the other, they all had this abroad connect. And when they were sharing their story, I thought I was the only one thinking that pattern. Until the next person beside me said, these people did not start from scratch now. They are not like us. And I was like, wow, I thought I was the only one thinking that. So sometimes the frustrating part of how to move our ideas from ideas to business is that we don't have that perfect model that actually represents where we are. So if we have somebody that we can see that have been in our position before, and then the person who successfully moved to the next stage, it will be very easy for us to see ourselves in that same picture. But when you see about 10 people giving speech and all of them has either traveled to the US before or done something or had this connect, definitely you say that, oh, this person, I can't be like this person because this person had a leverage that I don't currently have. So this person is not speaking about my current reality. So here I'm going to pretend as if none of us has ever traveled out of our local country. I know that some of us that are not in Nigeria right now, some of us are abroad listening. So, but I want us to start from scratch as if we have never had any leverage. All what we have is just an idea. And we are looking at making this idea something that will be useful to people. They are willing to pay for it. And then other people can see that business and they are willing to invest in. So let's just start the journey with that little story. One of the thing about idea is an idea is as good as you just seeing a picture. It makes no impact except for mental. Uh, it just help you mentally. It helps you feel good mentally. It's just an idea. When you share it with people, people can comment like, "Wow, this is a great idea. It's nice. Go for it." But now the next question will now be, how do I how do I go for it? What's the next thing to do? Sometimes many of us make the mistake by thinking, oh, I need money to pursue this idea. Some people will say, oh, I need somebody that can sponsor me. I need an investor to invest in this idea. So one of the things that I just want to say quickly here is that anybody that has an idea, last week the teacher told us that one of the best things to do is to work in the part of your talent. So let's say you are someone that naturally you know how to create good stories. You can just be a good storyteller. You can be a good script writer. From there, you can start selling stories to movie makers. From there, you can start your own movie business just from starting from that natural talent that you have of just knowing how to tell good stories, you know how to create plots. So that's working in the part of your talent. Why he also advised that there are some people that is not necessarily their part of talent, it's just an opportunity that presented itself to them. Those people too can follow that opportunity. So, in addition to what the teacher said last week, we had one more thing, and that is learning. Either you have a talent for something and you think you can convert that talent, you can monetize that talent, or you feel that there's an opportunity that presented itself. A friend came to you, or somebody just came to you and said, there's this big opportunity, and I want you to invest in it. One of the things I will advise you to do is to learn. Many of us have learned both positively and negatively from not learning an idea, that either our own idea or other people's idea that came to us as opportunities. If you have an idea, for instance, you want to create an application for the people in the tech industry, you want to create an application that does XYZ. The first thing I expect the person to do is not to just be excited and jump into building the application. The first thing is to learn, does this thing even exist before? Has it been built anywhere in the world? And today we have Google, we have ChatGPT, we have a lot of search tools that you can use. So you can just go on there, just search, and something that does this XYZ. And you'll be surprised. You will find like 10 or 20 that has been done in India, that has been done in China, that has been done in the US. So one of the good luck that you can have is for it not to be in Nigeria or be in Africa, where your potential market may be. So if that is the case, then it's now to learn. It's now time to learn. Or okay, how did these people, how did they came about building this application? What are the things they put in place? Has anyone succeeded? Did anyone fail? Why did they fail? And you also need to know which market did they operate in, because sometimes the fact that somebody built a product in the US and it was successful doesn't mean that that product will be successful in India, or it will be successful in Nigeria or Ghana or Ethiopia. They are two different markets. People in the US have disposable cash. So when you tell them, I'm giving you this product, it will help you file your nail. That's what it will do. It will just file your nail. Your nail will be sparkling. They have disposable cash. They can buy that kind of product. They can buy it for $10. But when you are bringing that same product with that same price point and you are bringing it to Nigeria and you say this product is selling in US very fast, and you are bringing it to Nigeria and you tell people you have to pay equivalent of $10. We all know the exchange rate today. Just for a nail, something that will file your nail, that product might not fly because it is a different market entirely. So now the next thing is, now after you've learned your market, you've learned your product, how do you start building? And at that stage, building is not necessarily, oh, now I need to start buying raw materials, I need to start hiring teams to start coding. No, you have to identify there's something they called business architecture. For those in the construction, we all understand what a building architecture is. The building is not yet there, it doesn't exist yet. It's just somebody that drew how your building will look like if everything goes well as planned. This is how your building will look like. The same thing, we need to have that for businesses. So, for instance, the first thing is, what kind of business do I even want to create? I want to create, um, for instance, I created a school app some years ago. And the purpose of that school app is very simple. I'm going to create this school app and I'm going to distribute it to some schools, make sure that they use it. And that is it. I don't have a 10 years, 20 years, 30 years generational wealth plan for that school app. I just want to build something and distribute it and see if I am able to build what people can pay for. Because that's one of the things you need to do for yourself. Sometimes we need to encourage ourselves by doing something successfully. If we want to just do the big thing at once, and along the way, because you have not learned, you failed, that demoralization might keep you from trying another big thing again. But if you know that, okay, this small thing, I can do this one successfully, and you attempted it and you are successful in it, that success will inspire you to go for something bigger. So that's what I did. I built the application, just like you saw in my profile. I did about 80% of the coding myself because I couldn't afford to hire anybody. So, and I had coding experience, some little coding experience. So I went to extra school to learn that coding more, and I built the application. And fortunately enough, I got one customer. And when the customer saw my application, said, this thing will not work for our school. And the person gave me a template of how they expect their results to be. With that template, I went back to the coding room and I modified my application to look like that template. And from then on, every other school that I went to, the customer that actually gave me the template did not end up being a customer. But every other school I went to, because they saw that template and it was a rich template, they were paying for the application. So I was encouraged, I was happy that, okay, now I think I'm an entrepreneur. I feel encouraged. So that architecture that I was talking about is, what is your plan for your business? Is this a business to encourage myself that actually I can do this entrepreneur thing? Because some people, the reason why they are here is they are doing a 9 to 5 and they feel like, okay, I need to find some other thing to do. I need to invest in some other thing. I need to be an entrepreneur. I just need to increase my financial capacity. And they feel like, okay, I need to learn this entrepreneurship thing. And it's a good thing. That's why you are here. It's a good thing. So some business are like that. I'm not trying to build this business to make it scale 10x or 100x. I just want to encourage myself by doing something successfully. So some people, they might do a WhatsApp business and they do it successfully. So there's some businesses like that. You are not collecting investment for that business. It's just to encourage yourself. That's the architecture for that business. There are some businesses that I am doing just to survive and to scale. Maybe you are having a, let's say, a store, and the only way you can scale a store is to create another store. So, and that's the architecture of that business. It is fine. And there are some businesses that I'm doing this business to sell. I'm not trying to scale this business and become the best CEO on Forbes magazine. I just want to build it to a point and sell. I need my peace of mind because business takes some attention. If you think your 9 to 5 is taking your time, wait until you become a full-time entrepreneur. Entrepreneurs don't have a closing time. You work around the clock and you enjoy it. That's not the difference. It's a different thing from you for you to be working and then you enjoy what you are doing, but it's not fulfilling. But when you see something grow from scratch and you are building it, you begin to enjoy it. So the closing hour is not really something you factor anymore. So there are some businesses that you just build, you go to an extent and you sell it off, and you take the money, probably go and build other things. There's some people today that they do that. We all know of WhatsApp. WhatsApp was built and then it was sold. Instagram was built and it was sold. There's no attachment to that business because the reason why you are doing business in the first place is to, number one, solve a problem, and number two, for you to exchange value for that problem. Hello, Mr. Victor, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you also.
All right, great. Thank you very much for the feedback. So, as I was saying the other time, so there's some businesses that you build and you sell off. It's as straightforward as that. While there are some business that you are building as a legacy, something that can last for 50, 100, 150 years. Now, those kind of businesses takes more than just starting today, I want to scale tomorrow. And in that line, I'll be speaking on the next point that I have. Um, some of the things that we don't know is sometimes speculation is what makes some people interested in entrepreneurship, whereas entrepreneurship is a lifelong journey on its own. Speculation, like probably you are subscribed to a newsletter and you heard that somebody raised an amount today and that person raised an amount tomorrow and you are inspired. It's a good thing to be inspired. But one of the things you probably probably they don't include in those news is, for instance, if you want to build a fintech, today nobody build fintech from scratch again. It's just a collection of APIs and some business logic. So you collect different other fintech that has already built a platform. You collect their APIs, you pack it together, and you write some code to make those APIs talk to one another. That's how most people build fintechs today. So that learning has to be there. If the learning is not there, you will think, I want to build a fintech. I need this, I need that, because there's nobody that has experience that is on your team, which is my next point about teams. Before you can succeed, depending on your business architecture that I mentioned the other time, there are some businesses you don't need a team. You can run on your own. It's just an SME that you just need to open a branch and probably another branch somewhere else, and that is it. But when you're looking at something that can scale, you need a team. By the normal definition of having a company, now we are looking at your business from an idea to a company. By the definition of just a company, it shows that it is a gathering of two or more people. That is how you have a company. So one of the things I always say about team and hiring people is anybody you are hiring must be able to do some things you cannot do, and also be able to do some things that you can do in case you are not there, so that they will be able to, your replacement will be easier. It is fine if you are building an SME for you to for you to be the most knowledgeable person in the team. But when you are building something that will scale, something that will last, you need some, even when you hire people that don't know up to what you know, you should create that opportunity for them to learn from you so that they can easily fast follow your approach to making decisions. And then when you are not available, they can take decisions on your behalf and you'll be happy with that decisions. So one of the approach I use in my early days of career, just like I mentioned the other time, when I was building my first app, I could not afford to gather a team of engineers. So what I did was simple. I can write code, but I know that I had a deadline of that I've given to myself. I must release this application this so time. So what I did is I had a friend then. He can also write code, but not as proficient as I am. So I quickly did a crash course for him, and I said, I can't pay you now. He was still he was still serving that time, and I told him, I can't pay you now. Thank God that you are serving and you are collecting some money from the government. So what I would do is I would do a crash course for you. That's number one. You've learned from me. Then number two, because I can't pay you now, when this application goes out and sells, I will give you a percentage of the proceed for this number of months. It was a deal. As at that time, I could not afford to pay him monthly because I was not making any money. So I had a deal with him. I said, if this application sells, I will give you part of the money within so period. It's not going to be a forever thing. And he agreed. And I did a crash course for him. And he helped me with some part of the application, about 10 to 15% of it. And that's how the application came to life. So sometimes when you are starting from scratch, you might not have the finance. Like I said about, we don't have anything, we just have an idea. As at that moment, you know you cannot build it alone, but you can identify two or three people. You'll be surprised on LinkedIn. It's not everybody that is advertising jobs on LinkedIn that is advertising a paid job. Some people are looking for an unpaid co-founder. You can do things like that. And when you identify somebody that has the talent that you need in your team, it's just for you to bargain with the person. If we do this thing right, this is the percentage that you will get from the business. and that person becomes your co-founder. Funny enough, if you look at some people that have raised money recently, you will see some teams that have almost 8 to 10 people in the team that they are co-founders. And you'll be surprised if you have 8 to 10 people, how will you make decisions? It's because systems has been put in place. So those 8 to 10 people, they have specific thing that they are contributing. Some people, some of them might be marketing, might be a marketing expert. Some of them might be the tech expert. Some of them might be the people that will handle the operations, just different roles. When you know that we lack something, if you can afford it, you can decide to hire. But if you are starting from scratch, you cannot afford it, you enter a deal with that person, get this amount of percentage, and we are all happy. So that's one of my advice. Also, I did that too for my lawyer when I was signing some contracts then, and I couldn't afford a full bill. I told her I will pay you part of it now. Whenever we make money, I will make sure that I pay you a certain amount too. So, and she agreed. And that was what we did. So, it's very, very important. So, just some few points before I wrap up. This is very important. When you are starting a business and it's an idea, and you've been able to approach some people that will work with you, and you've agreed that okay, we'll be co-founders, you are starting from scratch, you are moving up, do the right things, especially legal things. Legal things that I mean is, even when you are having co-founders, there's something they called in entertainment, they call it split sheet. They also use it in tech for people that don't have like a strong legal capacity to afford a lawyer or things like that. They have split sheets, an agreement of we are coming together to form a company. You get 30%, I get 25%, this other person gets 15%. You have it documented somewhere. You all sign it. It is it is a legal document. Once you all have it and you all signed it. And if you know any lawyer friend today, almost every one of us have either one sister, one cousin, one friend that knows a friend that is a lawyer. You can enter the same deal with your lawyer. We just need uh, an agreement between us, and this is how we want to do it. And then you get it done. It is very important because I've also I also got burnt, uh, got my finger burnt sometimes ago, about 12, 15 years ago. I was building an agri tech company with some friends then, and we just had verbal agreements, just word of mouth. Funny enough, after we started and the stuff was going, the business got a grant of 10 million. This was a long time ago. And immediately that money came in, then discussion changed. The CEO decided to bring one big man that time. I say this person was his mentor. And now mentor saw that money has come in. Mentor wants to be part of the business. Now the mentor was now controlling the business. And I wouldn't have that because the mentor was not there when we were agreeing. He never signed any document with us and things like that. But he brought in because we never had any legal agreement. So I said I will not repeat that mistake again. And um, it's just something you need to do. Get including your vendors, your partners, your clients. There is one of the CEOs of the top fintech company in Nigeria too, also had that experience. He had an agreement with a bank, and they built an application for that bank. And immediately the application starts selling. They're supposed to take maybe, I think it was 10% of the profits, and the bank changed. And the bank said, how are we going to pay you, these small boys, a whole 10%? We can't give you more than 5%. They are the bank, they own the customer. So if you say you are not collecting the 5%, they will just rebuild your app, and there's nothing you can do. You have not done your intellectual property registration. You never had any solid agreement that you can take them to court with. So those things are very important, and they are things that we should do. Legal documents, having them signed, having our ideas. If it's something that you need to patent, you please do so. Then the last one that I will now close with is when we've gotten all these things right, we have people we can build company with, everything is going on fine. Money is important. Sometimes we don't need investments. I will repeat that again. Sometimes In fact, most of the times, a new company don't need investment. What they probably need is for them to save up. You have Rice Vest here. It's something you can even invest in some of Rice Vest products for the, okay, I want to start a business in the next 2 years. You can start investing now. Some people don't need external investment. They can gather friends, like 3 or 4 friends, and make those friends co-founder and pull money, pull resources together to start a business, to start a company. You don't necessarily need a venture capitalist to give you a check or things like that. And some people that are fortunate to get the check, some people make a mistake of thinking that check is a grant. There's a difference between investment and grants. You don't collect an investment and go to your place of worship to share testimony. We all know about the parable of the talent. Investment is like parable of the talent. Once you are giving, it's time to work. You don't go and share testimony that, oh, God has done it, I got an investment. Your testimony comes after you have used the talent and you have multiplied it. That is when you share a testimony. So you don't say, I've got an investment, then it's time to buy a new car and you go and share the testimony. No, that's not the time for testimony. Work, multiply that talent, multiply that resources. That's what your investor wants to see. And you can only do that when you have put in your own money and done gone to a particular extent with your own money. Then an investor sees that, oh, this person is serious by putting his own money. I can support the person with my fund. Because all what investors need is very simple. How can you multiply my money? How can you 3x it? How can you 10x my money? It's as simple as that. And if an investor see that you are doing everything legally, you are putting the right structure in place, you have the right agreement with your partners, you are not cheating anybody, you are following the right process, and you are profitable in your little, even if you are not profitable yet, if you are in the right direction, any investor wants to multiply their money. They're not really doing you a favor. They also want to multiply their money. And just like I said the other time, it's not a grant. You one of the things people do again that that is not the right thing to do when it comes to investment is people treat investment like Ponzi scheme, especially today in Nigeria. That's where you see somebody raise a seed investment in a company and did not manage that seed investment properly, then you quickly need to do another seed round. You do a pre-seed, you do another seed round. Now, for you to pay your pre-seed investor, they use the seed round to pay the pre-seed investor. Now they have done seed round, the money is going down again. They said, let's quickly raise Series A. They now use Series A money to pay the seed round investor. They do Series B, use Series B money to pay Series A investor. So it has become a Ponzi scheme. You use the new investor's money to pay the old investor. And a business cannot grow like that when you don't have a particular place whereby you are seeing customer growth. If your customer kept growing and you know that your product is just exploding, that is allowed for you to keep raising rounds every time. But now your customer base is not growing, you are hiring people that you don't need. You kept going around doing some convincing slide just to raise an investment to pay your former investors by raising new investment to pay them. That's a Ponzi scheme. And that's why in African markets today, investors from the US, from different places, are reducing their level of investment coming to Africa because they see that people are not really doing the business. They are posting for photos so that they can be in front of magazine. They can be listed in newsletter and interviewed in videos. They're not really doing the work that will increase the money, that will scale the business. So they're using new round to pay old investor. So please don't let us go that route. So just to do a recap, you need learning from anything that any idea that you have. From that learning, sometimes you can gather your friends and family or people that you think they have talent, gather them, let them be your co-founder. After gathering them, have an agreement with them, do the legal thing. When you want to raise money within yourself first and start. The only way you cannot succeed is if you don't start at all. If you start, at least there's a 50-50% of success. So start. And when you are raising investment, take that money seriously. It's the pension of some people. that they are putting together to invest in your business. So it's a trust fund. And here I will wrap up. Thank you very much for having me.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olorunfemi. That was really, really insightful. I hope everyone was able to like gain one or two knowledge and insightful practical knowledge, insight. Uh, I really do agree with what you said lastly about the only way you can succeed is if you start. If you don't start, what are you trying to succeed about, or what are you trying to reap? What benefit are you trying to reap? So the only way you can succeed is truly if you start. Uh, I really enjoyed. I even dropped like a couple of lessons and insights I was able to gain while you were explaining. You also said something about when you are looking to scale from your your business from an idea to a company. Like it's very important you find the right team, and that what that means is like find the right people that can build with you. You are just starting you are just starting a business, so you have to find the people that can go through the thicks and thins. And one thing that you mentioned that is really important while finding the right team is negotiation, having an agreement beforehand, because this is really really important. You don't want any issues or something that is going to like delay your growth. Thank you very much, Mr. Lauren Friend. I truly like gained a lot of insights, lessons from this topic. Thank you very much. I guess we have up to like 18 minutes to wrap up. So I guess we'll just have to like open the conversation to any suggestions, comments, questions. If you have any for our guest today, Mr. Lauren Femi would be glad to take them. So to do that, you can just press the button in the middle, like to request to speak, and I will grant you access. Okay, I can see somebody requesting access to speak. Mantixa. Okay, I just grant you access. You can speak now. Mantixa, Mantixa, are you with us? Uh, okay, I guess he's not with us. I'm going to go to another person. Um, Uchechukwu EJ, I just granted you access to speak. You can go ahead. Okay, let's go to the next person. Oyekachi, I just granted
Hello.
you access to speak. You can go ahead.
Oh, can you hear me,
Uche,
please? This is Uchi.
okay.
Can you hear me? Good evening.
Good evening. We can hear you. You can go ahead now.
Okay.
Um,
Okay. Good evening, everyone. My name is
good
Uche,
evening.
like I said earlier, like you can see. So I just want to appreciate the speaker. Thank you, Mr. Femi, so much. It was quite
You're
insightful
welcome.
your session this evening. And my question is in two ways. I want to ask if the presentation that you made, if it's in the form of any kind of slide or even if it's a notebook or anything that you can
Hmm.
share and we can go through later on. And I also want to ask if you don't mind sharing your social media details in case there's any one of us who wants to connect with you, say your LinkedIn handle later on, because you sound like someone who would like to follow up on, say, if you make posts somewhere like on Twitter or hold any other speaking engagements later on. I'm really interested in connecting with you beyond this event. So those are my two questions. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Mr. Victor will he has my details and I will also share the notes with him so he can share with you or the community. I will share the notes with him.
Yes, yes. Very. Thank you very much, Uchechuku, for your questions and suggestions. We are going to do that. The um the last session we had, we also did that, and we're also going to like share highlights and recordings. So thank you very much for your suggestion. Let's go to the next person. Um, Uh,
Okay.
Oyekachi, are you trying to
Thank,
speak?
yes, yes, I am. Thank you
Okay,
very much.
Oyekachi, you
Good
can
evening.
go ahead. Good evening.
Thank you. Good evening. And thank you very much, Mr. Femi, the for the teaching. So my question is about being a non-technical person. Like I've had this stuff I've been trying to build, but I've not been
Mhm.
able to do that because I can't code, I can't program yet. Although I'm trying to learn, I've been trying to learn for a while now. But
Okay.
another thing I'm trying to do is to look for technical persons who I can bring in and form a team with them as co-founders and the rest. But the problem is that they they don't seem to see what I see, or I've not been able to convince them the way I should. So they keep asking for payments for money I should pay them, and I don't have money to pay them to place them on salary, or even to pay them as contract workers. So I'm kind of confused now because I've also made other researches. I've asked questions about paying co-founders, and most of the answers I got was that the persons who were non-technical didn't pay their co-founders until later, when their
Mhm.
um, when their startup has begun making money, and then they now began to share profits or whatever. So I just want to be clarified, or I just need advice on what or how to go about this confusion that I have about finding a technical person who I can work with to build what I have in mind to build.
Okay.
Thank
Um. All right. So for that, I think I mentioned an example the other time. There was a time, I think some 5 years ago, that somebody reached out to me on LinkedIn, and oh, what the lady was from US, and she was into this property. She's doing it, the property business, as a manual, with a manual process. So she wanted to scale it, and she needs somebody technical to join the company with her, and it's going to be just the person is going to be a stakeholder in the business, and that's just the deal. There's no salary coming with it and things like that. So that's one of the things you can try. You can try LinkedIn, as as it's free. It's something. It's somewhere you can just post. I have this. I need a technical partner, and probably you see some 10 people that we apply. You put it there that it comes with no pay, so that people don't just waste their time applying for the role. So you say it comes with no pay, but the person is going to have this so number of percentage, and we can negotiate it. By the time you're having a first meeting with them, if the idea sounds good to them, I'm sure somebody would love to join you. It just depends on if they go with the ideas. Is a word of idea. If they feel that this idea is something I want to be part of, definitely they will go with you. But if they feel like I don't think I want to go long time with this idea, then they will ask for money. Like, okay, if I'm using my time for you, he's the one actually bearing the risk. You are not bearing the risk, because he's the one using his time to code for you. So if that idea did not fly, you have not risked anything. He's the one that has risked his time and talent to work for you. But if he feels that the idea is good and he can bear the risk with you, then they will follow you. So they are not really doing something bad. It's either they feel like they're not really in tune with the idea yet, or probably the people you have been getting so far are just people that want to do the 9 to 5, which is also fine. There are job today. They just do the 9 to 5, they get paid, and they are happy. It's also fine. But they are not just looking at the entrepreneurship part. But there are a lot of engineers that today on LinkedIn, they would love to be co-founder in a company. So if you find people like that, that's just I will advise you to use LinkedIn. Try that.
Thank you very much, Mr. Olorunfemi. Mr. Oyekachi, did you get that? Was that satisfactory enough?
you.
Okay, I guess.
But I would like to add a follow-up question based on the answer Mr. Femi gave.
Okay,
If
go ahead quickly so we can
Okay.
take more questions.
Oh, okay. So if I put it up on LinkedIn, I'm also kind of concerned about what I'm about to do being taken over by someone else. If I share my idea with people publicly on LinkedIn, and then someone can just you know, take it up from there and then be the first
Yeah.
to bring product in the market.
I'm just going to build it. So definitely when you are typing anything on LinkedIn, you are not putting your ideas there. You are not putting your ideas. You are building. You can mention the industry. I'm doing something in the transportation space, and I'm looking for a co-founder, a technical co-founder. If you think you are interested in building something interesting in the transportation space, kindly, I won't waste your time. Let's have a 10-minute chat. An engineer will spare 10 minutes just to listen to you. So they know you are not going to waste their time. They just want to hear you. You are the one pitching them now. So also remember that you can't be the big man in that discussion. You are pitching your ideas to them. The same way you want to raise an investment is the same way you want to. And trust me, by the time you're having that 10 minutes chat, you have to share your idea. You might not share all the, if you have anything proprietary, you might not share that, but you just need to let the person know what you're trying to build. And one of the easiest way to also get engineers that can join you in that journey is to look at hackathons. There are a lot of hackathons that goes on. People in university, there are a lot of good engineers in the universities, and some people hold hackathons. Go there, meet one or two people and say, "You are in school. I want to build this idea. Will you join me?" They don't have anything to lose. They're in school, so they might not even build you. They just want to do something that is meaningful. And if that idea works fine, then good. So try hackathons. Don't share your idea online. Only share it when you're having a meeting with them, and I think that will work.
I hope that answered your question, Mr. Yekashi. Thank you very much, Mr. Olorunfemi. Um, I also agree with what you said. So let's move on to another person. We also have like questions in the comments, but we're going to come right to that after. Let's give Chukwubikim um to speak. He has been okay. Chukwubikim, you can go ahead now and speak. I've granted you access to speak. Hi. I guess he's having network issues. So let's
Sorry.
just
Okay.
okay,
No,
okay,
I'm available now. Sorry, I didn't know I was on mute. Thank you, Mr. Victor.
oh,
Thank you, Mr. Femi.
okay. You're welcome.
I I really appreciate, you and your wealth of experience that you have, dished out, and even when I think that this advice you have given is the best I can hear, then when someone asks a question, you give an even better advice. So I just want to appreciate you. My question is
Thank you.
this. You mentioned looking for your welcome, sir. You mentioned looking for co-founders, like that are starting up with you. One thing I know, one avenue also is by looking for partners, established partners. For instance, in the retail space, you can go into partnership with. In fact, while in school, I know there was
Mhm,
this man that was selling things, selling provisions that as a student, I buy from him on credit, and then I
mhm.
go and sell. When I come the next time, I pay him and then take the next one. But
Yeah.
that's on a very low small scale. If one wants to, go to scale, and the person needs different arms in the business he or she wants to start, how would you advise someone who may not necessarily find co-founders in individuals that are starting as well? How would you advise someone, an entrepreneur, to go about entering a partnership with established businesses, safely, protecting their own interests, and obviously, doing the right thing so that they don't spoil the opportunity that they may have with these established businesses? I don't know if my question is
Yeah.
clear, please.
Yeah. I think I can try on the clarity part. So just like I mentioned
Okay.
earlier, any agreement with any entity, individuals, established company, your is as good as what is on the document. That agreement is as good as what is on the document. And sometimes you might feel excited about what is on the document. Two people you should have as friends is lawyer and accountants. Those are the two people. So accountants will help you do your numbers if you think you are excited, and probably they put royalty somewhere that on every number of units you sell, they collect this percentage royalty, and you don't even care about the royalty. You are just excited about the partnership. Lawyer might not necessarily be able to do the math for you, but an accountant will. A lawyer is just to make sure that when a lawyer sees royalty, it means this thing means money. You might not know the extent of the amount. So those two people, you can get friends that you don't necessarily need to hire for that if you are starting from scratch. But definitely one of the things I advocate for also in businesses, as much as you want to save cost, when you see people that want to do something for you for free, like your friends, your lawyer friends, your accountant friends, is a normal thing to appreciate them with some cash. Please take this as a standard rule that is not written anywhere. If you have a lawyer friend that can help you read a document, you signing a document with an established partner, and you have a lawyer friend that can help you read it, help you correct things, help you return it back and make it beautiful that for your own profit. And the person said, "Oh, we are friends. You don't need to pay me anything." You can just send some amount to the person. It's something that is very important. So, but in that case, don't try to read the document yourself. Your agreement is as good as the document. So that's just it. The document have to be good.
Thank you, Mr. Olorunfemi, for that. I hope he was able to um find the answers to his questions. Some people on the comment section are saying something about not hearing very audible.
So,
Please, if you can hear
so
us very clearly, because I can hear Mr. Olorunfemi and the other speaker, please just put it on the comment that you can hear us, so we know who is, I mean, where the problem is coming from here. But I can hear Mr. Olorunfemi. Okay, okay, okay. Someone said it's clear. Okay, Mr. Olorunfemi, someone dropped
yes,
a question in the comment, so let's quickly take that before we take one last question. If
mhm.
so, the question goes: if a person intends to offer digital services and sell physical products at the same time, what is the best way to go about in terms of using Facebook as one of their social media channels to get visibility? Should the person open two separate Facebook business pages or one? I feel like you should go. I mean, you should answer this first before the last one.
Okay. So it depends on the product. So for instance, now we have some product that are complementary. So if you have a physical product, something like a DSTV decoder is a physical product, they will sell that to you. But there's a digital service that comes with the product, which is your the subscription that you pay for. You are paying for a digital service, the movie you see, the news and everything. So that is a complementary. You need a single platform to advertise both. But let's say there are two different products. Also, there's that Dangote is selling sugar, he's selling spaghetti, he's selling a lot of things. Now, Dangote Petroleum is a company, but he has different companies under the organization. So it just depends. If what you are doing is complementary, you need a single platform. But let's say they are different things. You are a musician, people listen to you on Spotify, but you also sell cars. They are two different things. So that's two different platforms. So that's it.
Okay, okay, okay. Thank you. Did did I also cover the last question? In this case, should the person create two brand
Yes,
names or
exactly.
use? Okay,
Exactly.
okay,
If it is a complementary
okay,
product, then the same brand name. But if they are two different products, then two different names.
okay, okay, okay. Um, uh, so let's just take one more person. I was seeing Samuel a lot of time before we just take one last question. I saw Samuel a lot of time for like about 10-15 minutes, but I can't see him here again. Samuel, you can drop in your suggestion. Okay, okay, okay. Let me grant him access to speak. Samuel, you can go ahead now.
Okay, good,
Hello, Samuel.
yeah, man, good evening, Mr. Victor. Good evening, Mr. Olorunfemi. Thank you
Good
very
evening.
much for what you have given us tonight. All right. So the question I want to ask, I once had something and it has kind of stayed with me. So I think I read it. So it said, don't start a business with your friends. like, so the idea is that don't start a
Mm,
business with friends people you are close with. Instead, start a business with people who are you are not already friends with. Then let that
mm,
business make you friend. So please, can
mm,
you speak on that idea? Because I've been really thinking about it a lot.
mm. Okay. So as quick as I can be on that, it depends on everyone's experience. One of the things that affects business negatively is probably familiarity of family and friends. So you have a business and your friend says, I want to take some money out of this. I need it. I need to buy a car. And you say, no, you can't take money out of the business. We only share dividends at the end of the year. Then because of that familiarity, there's a fight and things like that. So probably that's the reason people always advise not to do business with family and friends and things like that. But let me say something. Doing business is hard. Now doing business with people that you have not shared ideas together, you have not even shared your common values, it make it more difficult. It's better if most of the people that do business successfully together are probably working in the same company before, or they've known themselves from school, or they just have history or something together before. It's easier that way because it's not about making money together alone. It's also making decisions. That's the most difficult part of business. It's easy to put your money and buy shares in a company. Maybe you want to buy shares in Microsoft through RiseVest, for instance. You have no say in Microsoft. You just put in your money there. You're not making decisions with them. You don't even know anything about it. You just want your money to grow. That's fine. But when you are part of the decision making process, you want to make decision with somebody that you understand your values. You might not share the same idea. You might not agree on everything, but at least you should share the same value. That's why you're a company. Don't forget it is a company. So if you know more, if you don't have the company of one another and the company is not cordial, definitely there will be a problem. And so many times we know that some business die because one of the co-founder left, and one of the things that affects is when there's no cordiality. So for me, this is just a personal thing for me. It's not an advice to you. I prefer doing business with my friends, especially people that I've known for a while. So it reduces that stress of we are trying to know one another, we are trying to check our value system. It's release those stress from me. Thank you.
Thank you for that, Mr. Olorunfemi. Mr. Sam, I hope that answers your question. Um, that was quite, and to me too, I feel like um, going with your friend is like on a softer side because this is someone you already know, and permit me, you must, I mean, it must be the friend you actually know, not just um, you know the person value because your values can like can be different from your friend's values. You have to like determine his preference and like a lot of old things than like someone you don't know. But as Mr. Shegun said, you need to consider both and like check your appetite for any of them. I guess we have come to the end of this conversation. This is with two of our community mentorship program in collaboration with Club AFI. This is meant to run for 4 weeks. This is our second week, and the topic we treated today was from concept to company and how you can build a solid business foundation. And thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. Lauren Femi, for also tuning in. And also, if you still have like questions, suggestions, you would like to like to get it out, you can put it in the chat. Maybe when Mr. Olorunfemi is chance, he can like tend to that. Maybe, but you can always drop your comments, your question, your suggestions, even if you don't get answers from like Mr. Olorunfemi, you can always get from the community. That's what we are all about in our community. We always try to like help each other like grow together. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. Olorunfemi. Just to like give a short brief story. Um, Thank you, Mr. Olorunfemi, for tuning in. Mr. Olorunfemi had, because prior to this we had like a conversation, and he said like he had like an engagement to attend to, but he was still like willing to do this, and he said he just needed to like rest. So like, thank you, Mr. Olorunfemi, for taking the time on like a busy weekend, a Saturday for that matter, and thank you everyone for tuning in. Um, Next week Saturday we continue on week 3 of this same topic. I mean of another topic, but still on the mentorship program. So next week Saturday we continue on week 3 of the topic, and we also have like a very very insightful and interesting topic, especially for you as an entrepreneur. And so I would like every one of us to like be there and like tune in to, because um especially what we learned today is there is no limit to learning. You are always going to learn. I am always going to learn. We are always going to learn. So let's also continue learning together. Um, Also, we organize book club every Thursday, which we are reading a present book titled "You Are Not Broke, You Are Rich" by Mapalo Maku. She's a South African author, and every Thursday every week we like dissect each chapter, like chapter by chapter, on like um how you can like manage your money, how you can get better at money. This last Thursday we talked about how you can build wealth by saving, and next week Saturday we're going to talk about how you can build wealth by investing. So this is just to say this community is, for those of us just joining us, this community is full of like a lot of financial knowledge and like practical strategies you can use to like better yourself. And I feel like it's very important we better ourselves financially, especially in financial knowledge. And so you can invite your friends. So if you are not coming for the mentorship program, you can come for the book club. You can come from both. You can come for both. We are always glad to have you, and we always welcome you. And thank you, Mr. Olorunfemi, again. Do you have any like last word before we like close it?
Thank you for having me. So what I'll just tell everybody is start that idea in your mind, share it with your friends, just start something. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Olorunfemi. Don't forget this mentorship program is in partnership with Club AFI, the finance club, and we hope to continue this next week Saturday. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Thank you, Mr. Olorunfemi, once again. I hope everyone have a lovely and restful weekend. Bye, guys.